Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Knoxville Business Growth Collaborative. I'm Lea Thomas, your former godmother, and I have for you today a very special treat. We have a panel of experts that are going to talk all about cash flow in your business, incoming and outgoing, and how all of that works, and give you lots of great tips on how to manage that much better, maybe, than you already knew. So here we go, and all right. Now, let's have all of the panelists please introduce yourself, starting with Gillian.
I'm Gillian Arledge, and I am Arledge Commercial Funding, commercial financing source.
I am Mike Childress. I'm the financial advisor with Kevin Jones.
My name is Melissa Shields. I am with Smart Processing, a locally owned, locally operated credit card processing company.
I'm Joey Ruffalo from JR Financial Coaching. I'm a personal financial and small business property coach.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Nikki Brinkley with First Citizens Bank Commercial Banking.
All right, so we are here to learn a lot about cash flow today and have some fun. We've got an audience here that is going to probably be asking some questions, and you can put your questions in the chat as well for the online participants. So our questions today for the panel are designed to prompt a diverse range of insights and recommendations from them into how you can benefit your business. We're encouraging them to draw upon their unique experiences and expertise. The goal is to provide actionable advice that small and medium business owners and managers can apply right now to improve their cash flow management practices and ensure the long-term success of their businesses. Everybody ready? All right, let's dig in. So here in the audience, we have some note-taking in front of you. We're going to start with future-proofing cash flow. And so the question is, considering the rapid pace of economic and technological changes, what strategies should service-based small and medium businesses implement to future-proof their cash flow against unforeseen challenges? And we can just jump right in. If someone has a burning answer to that, then go ahead and chime right in.
I could give sort of an extreme case, but I think it gives you some ideas to think about. So some of the things with future-proofing cash flow are obviously the ebbs and flow and revenue, and sometimes seasonality, which can be very challenging to a lot of businesses. And I used to live in Chicago, and this was a Chicago-based retail store, and I thought they did a really amazing job in addressing, their cash flow needs and making it as consistent as possible. So their core business was winter outdoor sports. Chicago, that's great. So they had, the snowboarding, the skiing, all of the gear, all of the clothing, everything that went with the winter. But as you can imagine, it's in the summers, they would be dead, right? They'd be closed. So what they did is they 100% flipped everything in their store. All of the winter stuff went away, and they became a summer outdoor camping store. So they had all of the camping gear, hiking gear, all of the things that you need to enjoy the outdoors, paddleboard, everything like that. And I thought that was a really brilliant way to address how am I going to secure myself and ensure that I have cash flow year round.
I love that. That's fantastic.
And I can add to that. So that was very, very smart too on their part, for sure. Just from the banking side of things, though, one of the things that I preach my clients all the time is setting up a reserve account. So, savings, dump funds throughout the month, whatever percentage of your revenue, whatever, and putting into that reserve account so that you do have a rainy day fund and an emergency fund for when things slow down. We're going to talk about this before, I'm sure, as we go through, but setting up full like a line of credit or something to help with that seasonality, slow period, or something like COVID happens and everything shuts down. So you keep people employed and try to keep your business open when there's not really a lot of money coming in. The other thing I like to always preach as well is stop and shop. They stop and shop. So when you are, whether that be like whoever does the internet provider, your phone services, your credit card processing, all of these things that cost you money every month, overhead expenses, stop and shop from time to time. I know a lot of business owners say it's a huge headache, but they could be saving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a year on some of these things. Collectively, what can they take that money and do with it? And so in situations like this, they could put that money in a reserve account, saving up for, slow period. So those are just a few things that I thought of.
And to add to that, it's a great point. Me specifically, with giving you credit card processing, I think it's important. It's one of those things that, when you're setting up your business in the beginning, you just need to get going. You need to be able to take credit. You need to have internet in order to take credit. There's so many things that you need to have set up and in place. And as you get going, business starts hopefully rolling, you forget to go back and look at those things. And you need to make sure that, for example, credit card processing, that you own your process, that you don't just get online, find somebody that provides you free equipment, although that sounds amazing and, wonderful in the beginning. You want to make sure that you own your processing and that anytime during that, you can get out of that and they can go to somebody else or shop the rates, see, take a moment to look at your statements when you get them each month and make sure that they're not slowly creeping up, because you'll notice that if you get a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and if you're locked in a proprietary contract with that particular company, you have no choice but to take the increase in rate. It's really important that you're paying attention to what you're signing and that you're giving yourself an opportunity to look at all those different areas. And it adds up this way.
Good stuff.
I like all the answers so far.
Yeah. And Mike, you are the financial planner, so you're more long reaching.
Yeah, and well, going back to making sure you have a rainy day fund, depending on how much you have in the rainy day fund, let's take that money and make sure we've got it in an account that's making money. So let's put it in a money market that may be making 4 or 5%. If we have enough, let's ladder CDs, a 3-month CD and a 6-month CD, along with a savings plan, so that we're taking this 3-month CD when it comes due, we buy another, 6 month, have the 6 month coming due, and then you got 3 months. We're always rolling that in. So like we have it in a short investment that we can pull it out if we need to in that 3-month window. And then when you are working with your investments, make sure you're following the season of the work. So if I'm a lawn maintenance and landscaper, I know I'm going to be working March through October. My calendar year's months will be November, February. Let's plan on putting our tax-free money into, or write-off money into the IRA during those months, March through October. So we're not using up our cash flow November, December, January, February, when we're down on income.
I love it. Good stuff. I knew we were going to get really great stuff from this group. Yes, sir.
Very important. Also, budgeting. Very important tool, because talking about revisiting your expenses. You can budget, when you budget correctly, you can predict some of these downtimes. There's also an opportunity for the business owners to get their messaging. Who are they servicing and when and where are they servicing? Do they have a strong message that they carry them throughout the year, or just through a season? Are you a landscaper that says, we offer 10% off? That's great. That works through the whole summer months. If you do something else that can provide that service in the winter time that people might need, such as part of other landscapers.
Very good. Thank you all. So moving on to the next one, we want to look at the impact of digital transformation. How does digital transformation affect the cash flow of service-based small and medium businesses? And what digital tools or platforms do you see as game changers in this context?
Well, I think digital transformation in and of itself is critical. If you're not digital, you're going to be very challenged to make successful in your business. People today have no patience. They want things done right away. They want you to be able to address their needs right away. So having the efficiencies that technology creates is key. And for me, I'm going to step on your toes a little bit, but it's critically important. Is to have an online payment system. It really is. So, people don't want to write a check today. I have to go find my checkbook for those odd occasions where I have to use that. And, people want to be able to instantly pay for it. They also want to be able to do it mobily. So you can do it where it's also on the phone. That's how people are today. And that sets you above your competition if you're able to do that and your competition can't. And the ease of being able to do that and the convenience factor will make more loyal clients for you.
Yeah, your digital wallet, I mean, the entire world, and everything you do, doesn't matter what kind of business you're in, people want instant gratification, instant purchase. You have to be able to, as a credit card processing company, you have to be able to provide, there's all different sorts of point of sale systems out there, all different sorts of, processing companies. But you need to make sure that they provide you with, look at your business and what are you selling and what type of people are you going to reach. Can they reach you online? The traditional brick and mortar only business is pretty much, left behind in today's market because everybody can hop on Amazon or, any other website out there and find what they're looking for. So you have to be able to keep up with it. You have to really take a look at the market and see what new things are coming out. And we've got Google Pay, we've got Apple Pay, we've got Venmo and everything else. I mean, there's so many ways of getting money instantly goes to the bank. So it's important that you are following those trends and, finding out and that you work with a company that can implement the newer things as they come along and update whether it's just new things as these things happen. Yeah, that's very important.
And I will just add that also this can add not just value to your customer, but also to employees. If you're utilizing this technology in your business, that the ease of use of certain technologies and software and things like that, I mean, it's just so critical to retain really good people. And so little things like that make a difference to employees too. So, and in this day and age, it's not easy to find really good people that are going to stick with you and be loyal to your company.
That is
So you can make those little.
absolutely true. Everyone is a free agent. Every day when they come to work, they're making a choice to work for you every day because they could be swooned away easily.
And I think you've got to start, no matter what industry you're in, you have to start looking at how AI is starting to infiltrate your industry and how you're going to be able to take advantage of it. The people in the late 90s who started taking advantage of the web and started building online profiles, started getting ahead of everybody. AI is the next one. And so you've got to start learning how to utilize AI and how it's going to benefit you. And it's going to benefit everyone, whether it's advertising, marketing, in the financial sector. Start getting familiar with how it's going to impact your industry and start developing a game plan to implement it into your company.
Yeah, and with the digital transformation, I'll weigh in with the automation and the systems that you need to run your business because we live obviously in a global world. We can sell, many of us, to anyone in the world, anywhere, any time of day. So if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're asleep and someone buys something from you, they want to see a receipt immediately in their email. They want to see the next steps. What do I do next? How do I use this thing? They want it delivered. They don't want to wait until you wake up in 3 or 4 more hours to give them the receipt and tell them the next steps. So you need to have your purchasing set up on an automation system where it's going to give people a receipt and tell them the next steps, no matter what time of day or night it is. That way you can be living your life and actually go to sleep and still be bringing in cash to your business and having happy customers. All right, so we're going to next go to customer relationships and cash flow. So we're going to segue straight from what we were just saying. Can you discuss the importance of the customer relationship management in ensuring steady cash flow? So this is a customer relationship management, often called a CRM. It's the database where you keep the names and all the information about your customers and leads. So how you can use that to ensure steady cash flow and share strategies for optimizing this effect of the business.
I can start here. My business, what I've done with clients, is you see the reduction in touch points. So using a CRM and constantly reaching out, signaling and directly to your customers, you can reduce touch points to provide. So a touch point is they know how to get to the marketing message. Typically, it takes about 100 touch points before you're ready to buy a product. The correct and effective customer relationship management, we can reduce that to 5 to 12 touch points. That's going to increase sales faster, give you on a better pay schedule, and nurture that client along the way so they're buying from you.
And I'll add on to that. I am a huge proponent of a CRM system. I think it's critically important to somebody's business success. I think what you need to be thoughtful of in those touch points is what is the best frequency for my business for my clients. You may be the recipient of some of these emails where you get them daily, and you're like, maybe that's a bit much. So figure out the right frequency. But I do think it's critical to have regular touch points, whatever that is. So if you're like a one and done, and then you come in 2 months later and say, oh, I want to promote this, that is not going to be effective. So you do have to figure out, what is the frequency that I want to do to reach out to my clients that I think is going to best suit them and my business. Secondly, the other thing I would say is if you are able through your engagements with them to gather some personal information from them, the nicest thing that a client can get is a personal note. The birthday, right? Happy birthday. And then you give them, hey, come on in, this is your birthday month, you get 10% off. Or I just got one the other month that said, hey, come in and get a free dessert. Well, I wouldn't have gone, but I get a free dessert. Well, I'm there, right? So it brings you back and it makes you think of them first. So taking advantage of the information you bring in to be able to kind of market to that and have them create a reason for them to come back to you, I think is really positive. And that system can do it for you.
And bouncing off of that, your name is on their lips. So when they're talking to people and their friend or neighbor, coworker, cousin says, man, I just need this solution, whatever it is. I got a guy, I got a gal. They know your name because you're on their mind. You're always top of mind.
If you want to say too, it's very important to have a list. If you see recently this past week, Instagram, Facebook, so if you're on social media, that's your only way to communicate with your customers, you lost them. But if you're at CRM, send out an email, still the business, still promote whatever you want to promote.
Yeah, that's an important distinction. The people that you have on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, you don't own them. You don't own those contacts. The people in your CRM, you own them. You always can reach them because no one is controlling your access to them. So it's very, very important.
And I was gonna add, all of this can be automated, as Rita is the automation specialist.
Yeah.
But I mean, that way you can still be collecting money for your business while you're asleep, people can still be shopping and getting receipts and things like that. So the point of all of this is still driving dollars into your business. And so, yeah, that's important.
And one last thing, you want to have this list, but if you don't develop it in a way that you can manage it, it just becomes mass bodies of mass names on there. People are going to get lost within your list. You're going to have unorganizations. You need to take time and, like Gillian said, make notes, identify, and you may have multiple lists within this one list. You may have this group of people that we're only going to contact them once a month. Whereas this group of people we're going to contact every 6 months. This group of people would be every week. But you want to make sure that this list is really good and detailed and organized so that you can manage it effectively. Otherwise, it can end up running you and your business down and waste a lot of time.
That it sure can. And let me just take a quick break. The studio audience, you can ask questions anytime you want. That's the benefit and the perk of being here in live in person. You can just pop up with a question. And also, I did want to introduce in absentia, our accounting and tax expert is Lea Ann Sanford with P&L Business Services. She is very busy doing taxes right now, but she already provided some answers to some questions So I'll be able to read those when the time comes. So that is our 6th panelist for today. So does anyone have questions that we haven't answered already? Not yet. Okay. So we're going to move on to mitigating cash flow risk. And so risk, of course, is a very scary word for almost any business owner. And so we always want to mitigate that when we can. What are some of the most significant cash flow risks that service-based small and medium businesses face today? And how can they effectively mitigate those risks?
So I'm taking this from the banker brain. Other people might have a different perspective on this, but one of the biggest cash flow risks that I see is fraud. So obviously, I hear this a lot, actually, well, obviously, but I hear this a lot. People say, oh, I didn't even think about businesses and fraud. And I think when people think of fraud, they think of consumer fraud, but business fraud happens every day. And you're talking about large amounts of money. And so just ensuring that you are monitoring your account. There are certain types of things that you can use to set up and have fraud prevention services, no things off that. You know, that way you have extra levels of protection where you can monitor your items posted through your account with it. So because when fraud happens, for instance, I had a client that would mail a check to Michigan every month, got intercepted in the mail, got washed, $16,000, got cash. He didn't know anything happened until that company reached out to him 30 days later to say, you never finished your payment. Yes, I did. Goes and does the checks and balances. It was cash. Now he still has to pay his other bill of $16,000. But what if you're a business that you don't have those reserves? You don't have that line of credit. You don't have this money sitting in the bank. That's a cash flow problem, right? So, you know, those things like that happen all the time. So it's just making sure that you're watching those things. And have you had a certain fraud service that I want to count could have actually stopped that before it happened. So things like that I always talk about. Also, you can set up insurance. So if you are a company that is doing a lot with online or technology, and you have a lot of technology that your customers are using, you can set up insurance to be able to protect you in the event that systems are breached and information is breached and things like that. So that you can kind of avoid those major lawsuits. The other thing, obviously, is just risk not collecting enough, not collecting fast enough. I see that a lot. So when you're a service-based industry, a lot of times you're collecting so much on the front end, and you're collecting the rest at the end or halfway through. Making sure that you are collecting enough, but make sure that you are collecting. I see a lot of stuff that is always outstanding in accounts receivable and it's never coming in, so that's going to be a cash flow risk. And then checks and balances being internal embezzlement. You know, making sure that you have those checks and balances in place in your business so that if you do have someone helping you with the management of the money, that you have some system in place where you are able to make sure and monitor what's coming in and what's coming out.
And I'll give you what you said about the receivables part. There's in small, when you said business, especially service businesses, you may be collecting payment at the end of your service. And that might be something you decide not to do it for us because if you're chasing payments. We did that with our business a long time ago, private service, because checking the invoice. We spent so much time chasing late payments that we weren't focused on other aspects of the business. So we decided to get the payment fund in bulk. And if you cancel service, we'll get us credit. That's just still have the operator, and there's so much easier to operate that way. But also not in the clear billing terms, too. That's important. If you're not communicating with your customers as far as what the terms are and what's expected of them, and you're in control of the situation, so get in trouble.
And from a credit card processing perspective, payment sources, the credit card industry is constantly updating and upgrading. And, now we all have the card chips in it, and it's just an added level of security to make sure that, funds are available to, try to lessen the opportunity for fraud with online purchases. And, you want to, make sure that you're working with a reputable company that's providing that to you and will help track, your transactions and notify you and notify you if they transaction or some type, of activity that seems fraudulent. So those kind of things are, really important. Keep, up with as you're working through, setting up that process, make sure that's something that company will provide for you.
Another thing is, when you're setting up your retirement plans for your company, making sure you set up the right plan. If you go with one type of plan, it may be a certain percentage across the board that you have to contribute to your employees' plans no matter what. Whereas if you go with another type of plan and then it's a smaller amount, or it doesn't, you don't have to contribute unless they contribute. So making sure you've set up the right retirement plan so you can provide for your employees, but that you're not getting crunched in certain cash times with how much you're putting into those accounts.
And I'll add one final thing that I think is a key risk that all of us have experienced very recently, and that's supply chain disruption, right? Hopefully it's not going to be as extreme as we all experienced in the last few years, but it happens and it will continue to happen. So how do you avoid some cash flow challenges with that? Well, I think one thing is to make sure you diversify your number of suppliers, that you don't just be beholden to one. It's very important to have a variety of access points. For your critical stock, keep extra on hand. The things that you can't do without, maybe that's where you overspend a bit and you keep it in stock. And that way your clients don't know that you're out of stock, even though you do, and you're trying to replenish it behind the scenes. They don't experience and feel it, and they feel like everything's moving smoothly. And then probably finally the other thing would be to have some emergency funds that you set aside for those type of situations, because if you are trying to source another supplier and they know that it's scarce, obviously that price of that good is going to increase. So just being ready for that.
Wow, excellent advice. Really, really impressed with this panel and the answers that you all are giving. So the next one is cash flow and company culture, and we have an answer from Lea Ann Sanford, our accountant, to start us off with. How does the management of cash flow reflect on a company's culture and employee morale? And what practices ensure a positive impact? And Lea Ann says cash flow challenges can create instability in a company. When the staff can feel the cash crunch, they tend to get worried, and then productivity will be down. Some people will even leave if it's too evident. If management takes the practice of planning cash seriously and realistically, they will make better decisions and most likely lessen the burden of cash flow issues.
I agree with that 100%. I was actually going to say that the instability part. I actually was talking to someone recently and they left the company because their employer kept failing to pay them. That's a major cash flow issue. I've had clients in the past where they've ran into situations where they couldn't pay their employees. Might have been one thing, but if that happens, first of all, they might forgive you once, but you've got that doubt in the back of their mind, right? Now they're worried. But if it happens multiple times, you're not going to be able to keep employees, and you're talking about really, probably really good people that you're losing because of those cash flow issues. That's the other thing from a bank standpoint. If you come to us for a loan, those are questions we ask. What is your turnover rate? That's a red flag to us. When you have high turnover, what's going on? There's something going on behind the scenes that would make us lose confidence in wanting to be able to lend you money. So those are things that I think about.
There's no one that has a finger on the pulse of the life of the company more than a. So a lot of times owners of a company don't understand that. They're feeling and seeing everything, and they're getting skittish. And so when they see that payment to pay for product that we're getting ready to sell is late, or they're hearing stuff like that, it's affecting them. Whenever we're changing from different type of retirement plans, because we need to make this adjustment so we can make it, that affects them. Whenever we're delaying paychecks or moving paychecks from Thursday to Friday, so we can get the checks in. That affects them. They have a great sense of the pulse of the company. And so if you're proactive and you have a budget and you have a plan and you have those emergency funds in place, you're providing a level of security that those employees definitely feel, and that will help them perform better because they're more relaxed. It's not that extra level of stress that goes along with any job that's already.
If you just want to create stakeholders from your employees, it isn't activating all in your business, nurture their ideas, and bring them along. Because your business is just affecting employees, it affects your employees' families, it also affects your community. If that business fails, then the neighborhood and the community around it fails as well. So you have a greater responsibility than just outside of your employees. So bringing them along and nurturing them and giving them a part of say or listening to their input, essentially. That's going to foster a more positive environment. Bring them along. So even if there's a mean time, they understand that and they're able to get out of that mean time rather than jump ship. They're there testing out from a creative standpoint, from a listening to the standpoint. That's important.
Yeah, and jumping on what Joey just said, there may be times where it's really important to be more transparent with your employees because, as you know, what happens if they get that sense that something's wrong in their mind, they're going to build it into something maybe much larger than it is, and you may have unnecessarily lost an employee. So being as transparent as possible, explaining what your plan is to right size or correct the challenges will create a sense of loyalty with your employees because then they want to stay. They're like, wow, they took the time to talk to me and explain this to me. I can hang in there, and I can be here through this because I know that the outcome is going to be positive. So trying to kind of squelch that rumor part that happens and what people blow this out of proportion and said include them, as part of the strategy in the process.
Yeah, I feel like if we had one question for the whole time, it could be this one, company culture and cash flow. So anybody else want to weigh in on that one? All right, so we're going to move on to sustainability and cash flow. In what ways can service-based small businesses align their cash flow management practices with sustainability goals, and what are the benefits of doing that?
I think you're going to be able to, with AI and some of the different technologies, you're going to be able to demand payment much quicker. So as a business owner, if I give you net 30, I can expect payment net 30. We're not waiting for checks in the mail. We're not waiting for deposit. We can start to see those payments come across now. And it's going to help you manage those better, help you update quicker those people that are starting to fall behind. And then using statistical analysis to draw profiles from companies that are starting to show signs of future defaults by using how many times they're starting to fall behind. So those are ways that can be used to help us collect payment faster, but also identify people who may be at risk of defaulting.
One of the things that with credit card processing, credit cards being a form of payment, now in the past, it usually took about 72 hours for you to see money hit your bank account. But you take payment on Sunday, obviously around Wednesday. Now you can set up for next day funding in those cases, and in some cases, you can even do same day funding. So depending on how you're taking payment and in what software you're using, there's I'm sure everybody's gotten text from the doctor's office, the bill is now billed, people even use cell phones to be able to link in. But that's money that the business has access to on a daily basis. So even though it's very important to have an account, to fall back on and money set aside for future expenses, at least, you know, if you have your accounts set up the right way, you know that money's coming in every single day, you know.
And cash flow. I was gonna say also, I mean, obviously just creating a plan around your goals, but also monitoring those regularly. So, you know, mapping out, what you need to do to achieve the goals, but also analyzing your cash flow and doing that on a weekly basis at the very minimum monthly basis. But, you know, keeping track of what that cash flow is. You know, what does that cash flow cycle, that cash conversion cycle look like for your business so that you understand how money is coming in, how quickly it comes in based on from the moment you sell whatever it is your service is to when are you going to be able to bring that money in and understanding what that cycle looks like, what are the costs involved from the start to the finish and all in between, and just understanding what that whole financial landscape looks like for you, and then from there, you know, setting up or map your roadmap, so to speak, to achieve whatever that financial goal is.
Excellent. All right, so now any questions? Go ahead and just, shout it. We have questions in the studio audience. And now we're going to circle back around to AI again. So we have a question about the role of AI and machine learning. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are transforming many aspects of business. How do you see these technologies impacting cash flow management for small and medium-sized service businesses?
Well, we've talked a lot about billing. We've already addressed some of this, but I think it's critically important. If we think about what AI can do from a billing perspective, and that's where a lot of the pain points are, is getting paid on time. It creates much more efficiency in getting the bills out there on time. You can set up automated reminders. You can even set up the late fee component of that, and you'll see that you're going to get more results from your clients. And it also frees you up to do other tasks that are more important for you to run your business. You're not spending your time paper pushing. Your system is doing all of that for you. And the other thing I'll just reiterate that I think Nikki spends some time on is that AI is also going to be a great tool for fraud detection. It will catch anomalies and things that are coming in that you may not have seen through the human eye, that they get all the algorithms and they can see something that's suspect, and that can save you thousands and thousands of dollars. So I think it's a very, very effective approach to managing a business.
The AI from a marketing standpoint, absolutely. Instantly great content calendars, social media posts, ideas, blog posts, everything out there to kind of better your online business. So when you are showing up more in SEO search, you are becoming an industry leader in your space, you're producing content. That's amazing.
Actually, AI had a role in our panel today. Because I brainstormed some subjects and I asked AI what kind of questions should I ask. And so with the help of AI, and then I tweaked these questions. But so instead of me spending hours trying to think of on my own or looking through reference books of what kind of questions I should ask, it took about 7 seconds. And then I spent my own time to refine it and ask it in a way that I would want it. Oh, my goodness, yes. Balancing growth and stability. That is a real delicate fine line for business owners, and it goes all through every industry and every size and age of business. There's always that fine line between growth and stability. What advice do you have for service-based small and medium businesses on balancing the pursuit of growth with the need for financial stability, particularly in terms of cash flow management?
I think one thing from my perspective is, you know, companies a lot of times they grow faster than they expect them to. And if you're not set up to, you know, grow with your payments, you know, like going back payments, obviously credit card processing, but, you know, if you can have all these orders coming in, you don't have, you know, a way to accept funds from people, or you know, this person wants to buy something from you, but they can't get that money to you for them if you don't have a certain process of, you know, a certain thing in place for them to do that. But this competitor over here does, and they can get it instantly over here. You know, you have to account for those things, and I think it's important that you try to set yourself up in the beginning with all the right tools to be able to grow with you. And, you know, as far as like one sales system or CRM or the things that are necessary to your business, even though you may not think you need, you know, this particular point of sales system in the beginning, you may do it with this over here. How quickly you need that? So you need to make sure that whenever you do purchase or invest your money or time in the beginning, it can grow so that you don't have to completely 6 months out there when you're out there, start all over and spend another 5 to 10 grand on something because you outgrew what you started with. So, you know, and that's something that, you know, everybody, when you're trying to start a business, you know, sometimes cash flow and initial startup funds are limited. So they take the easy way out of the shortcut, but it's really kind of a throw at the end. So you just set yourself up to succeed or see what your options actually are.
Yeah, the important part of that is most businesses don't, they should have a business plan.
Exactly.
That's important. And you have to constantly go back and do that business plan. There's your needs and goals when you start, different than they are on 100 and year 1 to 2. You're not adjusting. It's saying you're not adapting your time. So essentially you have to keep adapting your business plan. And those are things too we brought up, like these capacity, right? So you in the beginning have a sole person, you may have the capacity to, as a landscaper, service 3 wells a day. And you are great at that, but you have a need now to service 5 or 6. How do you do that? Right, start hiring, start the game is faster, so they can hire somebody. Pay them first before they pay whoever it's work. So you have to, that's what you do, your business plan, your growth plan, and you know, it's important.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say, I have seen many times where businesses just grow way faster and they end up failing miserably, and they have to just start back at square one because they couldn't sustain the growth. And I just think it goes back to, yes, business plan, but being prepared for what happens when that plan doesn't go as planned. And so that goes back to, you know, having your reserve, having tools that are gonna help you fall back on it. Ensuring that, you know, I do believe that just like when you start a business, you're taking a leap of faith, right? You are definitely putting yourself out there, you're taking a risk. When you want to grow, you kind of have to jump out there and do that same thing, because now, just like the landscaper scenario, you're like, well, I really need to hire people, but what if it doesn't go? And you are having to throw yourself back out there and say, well, I'm going to hire these people in the hope that business continues as it is, and I can pay them, but having all of your balance, having your reserves, having your line of credit, it doesn't always have to go back to lending, but I'm just saying there are tools out there that we can help you with, but you know, having your ducks in a row so that you're prepared for the what if unfortunately comes true.
And there's even the flip side of that, which can be equally as scary. What if your business plan does come to fruition? What if your business plan does work?
Yeah.
You know, we all have big ideas, big hopes, and big dreams. We want to make all this money. What do you actually do? Then what do you do? All these people reaching out to you, and you know that can be overwhelming and equally as frustrating and tense. And people actually started because they didn't really, set it up right in the beginning, or didn't really think that it would pay off.
Yeah, and this is a great example. Sustained control growth is one of the best things you can have when you have automation business systems in place, because if you get 15 new customers in one day, that system's going to handle 15 new customers in one day versus your core system who's used to handling 3 new customers in one day. That automated system is going to constantly do exactly what it tells you every single time without flaw. And so that will help you when you have times of surge and you won't be wearing out yourself and your staff or dropping the ball, making mistakes, losing leads, losing customers because
I'll close with this. It took me to get the tortoise in the air story. Once you grow. Well, let's take it as one of the ways.
So we have really had tremendous amount of information. One more question for the whole panel, and then we're going to ask each one on the panel to answer the questions specifically and give some more insights. And then, of course, we're still open for Q&A from the audience as well. So, learning from our failures. Could each of you share a case study or example where a service-based small or medium-sized business faced a cash flow crisis and how it was resolved? What lessons can be learned from these situations?
I definitely have one. So this winter, I helped a very seasoned radiologist, and he was looking to go out on his own. He had been in business on his own when I was engaged with him just shy of a year. He had an idea in his head, but he did not have that written plan and had not done all of the assessments. And he thought that it would be very easy to go in and just, clients would follow and everything would, like maybe I have, negative cash flow for a couple months and then things are smooth sailing. Well, the opposite happened. And it took, first of all, it took significant money to stand up his business. Radiology equipment was highly expensive. So he had a lot of lines out with his commercial bank. And then one of the pitfalls he made was when he realized that people weren't coming in, he wasn't getting the traffic that he thought he would immediately, he way overspent on marketing. So he did like panic marketing and was frankly almost underwater because of the marketing costs that he incurred. So one, he had to try to go or recast the debt with the marketing company. He pulled way back on it. He was tapped out of the bank. The bank could not lend him anymore. He hit his limits. And he was not able to meet payroll. So he was facing a huge crisis. And his CPA referred it to me. And we were able to put together a financing package that allowed him about 6 months worth of payroll. And he will absolutely be successful. The traffic's coming in now, he's making positive revenue, things are turning around, but a lot of the things that happened to him probably didn't have to happen if he had sat down and done a sound business plan. If he had mapped out the realistic cash flows and budget items that he needed in order to be successful, and have realistic expectations around attracting the people into this service. But again, he's in a good place, things are going to go well, but it was very, very rocky in the first year.
Mine was actually really business that I had owned prior to COVID, an appraisal business. We had an appraisal shop with about 8 appraisers in it. And we had a system where we paid our appraisers no matter if we got paid or not. Because usually we were getting paid net 30, we didn't have a very high default rate. It was minuscule. And everything was going along just fine. In our industry, for me, at that point in time, December and January, February were heavy hitters for bills. Like we had all our MLS dues that had to come due, our winter program had to come due, our E&O was due right in that same period. So we were getting hit. And then you had the Christmas season. I've got 5 kids, so that's a big deal in and of itself. And so we got to this point, and all of a sudden there were some checks that weren't coming in, that were large checks. And I'm starting to panic, like I'm paying everybody before this check is there, and it's not showing up 60 days, 90 days. And now we're starting to get back, and this was a couple of companies that have done this. And we went back, I called the administrator for the company, and they had sent out emails, communications to our administrative assistant, saying they were changing how the building was happening, and that we now have some individual invoices for each appraisal instead of automating it the way it was through the program we used. Well, that caused 2 things that we had to correct. One, what was the communication gap, and how did we bridge that so it didn't happen again? Two, why didn't our accounting software, why didn't it pick it up? Why am I finding out that, hey, we're running out of money and I'm not seeing it? Well, what happened was we had to create a new account with our email attached to this program that we used that company had communicated with. And then two, we needed to get better training for our administrative assistant so she could use the entire spectrum of the accounting software. And that was on me because I didn't provide her the proper training. She said that she was trained, and for the most part, she knew how to run it, but there was a gap there in not understanding how to find late bills that weren't coming in. And so we ended up, I had a sizable emergency fund that we pulled from kind of pay the bills. And then we worked with the company to get the checks in. And then we corrected, we got with the CPA to send the administrative assistant for training, got her trained up, and it kind of smoothed out from there. But it was one thing that, one, we need to make sure communication is always, and you're always double checking. And I relinquished that control to an administrative assistant, and it was fine for a couple of years, and then boom, we had a follow up. And then two, I assumed she was trained properly because the resume said it was, but there was a gap there that I needed to follow up. After we got that, everything was good.
Okay, as for me, looking at it a little bit, I work with a lot of kind of businesses. So in the market as a whole, in the whole world right now, so many things have changed as far as cash flow goes. Take a restaurant, you know, in the restaurant world, everything has increased, you know, from their cost of their foods to their cost of employees to the rising cost of everything. So some of the things in the market have changed. I'm sure everybody's been out to eat dinner and you've gotten a check and realized that there's now, you know, something on the ticket that said, you know, if you pay cash, your price is this price. If you pay with a card, it's this price. It's called surcharging, you know. And a lot of companies have taken on surcharging as a policy, you know, in order to help, you know, absorb some of the cost in the business, cost of everything, credit card processing and, you know, supplies and everything in between. So I think that, you know, post-COVID, you know, especially, you know, not just necessarily in the restaurant world, but everybody from the supply chain is costing people more to get the supplies, to get their product. Everything is costing more. So I think one of the things that we've seen is the amount of, and we continue to see the amount of companies they're passing that cost on to the customers. And, you know, we'll let us believe it, I guess, it's considering which perspective you're looking at it, from the customer point of view, from the consumer, or, you know, the business perspective. But I don't think that's what we're working on too. I think that's only going to increase and we'll do a lot more of that.
So I love this book. It's failure to plan is plan to fail. So it gets back to the business plan, right? So if you have something in place, you can rely on for to give it that. That's get it started. Sort of things. Well, I work with a lot of small e-commerce businesses, and this really for everybody's maybe Poshmark and maybe turn side hustles into careers. There's a lot of people who get in and get out fast. Right now, burn out. You know, that towards the area, they are something running and burn out. And you'll see them online. If you're in that space, you'll see the influencers show up and say, hey, you know, $30,000 just want to sell them, whatever product. 2 months later, you're trying to buy a pallet of them, and the market is shifted, and you're stuck with 60,000 and bunch of them all. You can't sell for nothing. And they're not selling anything anymore because they're there now. So it's the sustainability, go back to sustainability, it's the slow growth in the process of putting systems in place. How are you going to proceed with business? Are you in it as a side hustle? Or do you finally get a full? If you're going full time, about your radiology example, one thing that if I sat down and I was talking to someone, hey, you have a target that you want to go out in your own business. So for the next few months, we got to be pocketing some of that stuff at home. Well, that actually hurts to start. Get started with that. I'm going to make a controversial statement. Most people aren't that up to business owners. Most people have no experience in business. They're great employees, they're great at what they do, they have no clue how to run a business. That's why we're all up here to help people who learn how to run a business. But you have no idea what you're doing it. You have to seek help out. That's important. Get a team together. Have people around you to support you. That can provide you insight and guidance through the process. And when you have a community around you that aspect, you're not going to fail. But they'll provide the right information. So, for example, you want to go off on your own, you are a landscaper, or you want to have your own landscape company, and you're already a critical landscape. They do that as a job training. When you want to run your business, think about what they're doing correctly, copy what they're doing anyway, they improve on. When you go live, you're not making the same mistakes. That's like that.
Well, yes, I love that you said that. I always say, it's never too early in business to build that team of trusted people around you. You know, you started a business because you're good at that. Most business owners aren't good at the back end stuff. And so stay in your lane, let us be in our lane, and let us help you. We're here to help you. But one of the other biggest things that I don't know in here where everybody is in their stage of business ownership, I don't know who's watching or going to see this later. But one of the biggest things that I like to always educate on is when you're getting into business, your personal credit makes a big difference. It matters. A lot of business owners now don't realize that whenever you do want a business loan, your personal credit makes a big difference in whether or not that loan can get approved or not. You have to be here in court. So that's kind of my scenario is where a business owner, they were waiting on a payment to come in. They didn't get that payment. And unfortunately, this client didn't have the credit. So they were not able to get a full line of credit or something for that slow period of seasonality or for things like this happen. They didn't put money back in the cash reserves. They didn't have that backup plan. And when that one payment fell to come through, they couldn't make the payroll. So I like to always just again hit on just having that backup plan in place for the what if supply. You know what's going to happen. But also if you're a business owner and maybe your credit isn't great, start working on that. Start thinking about that and start figuring out ways to build that back up to get it healthy to where it doesn't hinder you on your business journey. And that was, I think, all I have.
I love that. It reminds me of that meme that's going around with how people see you and how you see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And, we see ourselves as a business owner. We have, scenarios where we have so many paths that we're wearing. But how people see us is like we're like sitting back, relaxed, counting cash. And that's, I don't know. If we are having CPA, do the accountant, do the financial plan, everything for our business. I'm not training all that stuff.
Yeah, make an investment into your business. Like a lot of what we all do up here is not gonna, like for me to sit down with a banker like me and get advice, it doesn't charge you anything, So when you come to classes like this where you get to lean on our knowledge and our expertise in our industries, and so a lot of times it doesn't cost anything, just give the advice. I was going to mention one more thing that I always like to hit on, is that when you're starting a business, don't deplete all your cash. I see this so often that business owners do the business plan. They figure out that I need this much money to start the business, and then they get 8 months in and things don't go to plan. And all of a sudden they're out of cash and they're not bringing in, as Gillian shared the story, they're not bringing in money they thought they were. And then they come to the bank for the loan, or they go to Gillian for the loan. And we're kind of like, you have no history, there's not really anything we can really do right now. Now, Gillian, she might have options, okay? But traditional bank lending, you're probably not going to have options, right? So I see that way too often. So I always say, talk about startup funding before you start your business. Have a conversation. I know a lot of people are very, they don't want to get a loan, they don't want to be in debt. I totally get that. But at the same time, leverage the bank's money when you're getting started, and don't become cash poor.
Excellent. All right, so now I have a question for each one of the panelists. I'll start with the accounting and tax expert. And we're kind of glad that she's not here today because she is so dedicated to her clients that she knew she couldn't step away, and she's focused on the taxes. And so this is from Lea Ann Sanford at P&L Business Solutions. The question is that I asked her, how can service-based small businesses optimize their cash flow through tax planning and accounting practices, especially in managing receivables and payables? And she said, many think about tax planning as a way to avoid paying Uncle Sam. Well, that way. When in reality, it's an avenue for cash flow. When a business owner takes the time to work with a tax planning professional, they won't be surprised at the end of the year when the taxes are due, and likely won't be scrambling to gather up cash. Starting out your new year worrying about how to come up with money to pay off the same for last year, instead of how you're going to grow your business, is an unnecessary distraction. When the ideology of planning is then applied to accounts payable and accounts receivable, you'd be surprised the amount of worry you can take off. So, the question for the for the capital lending expert, which is Gillian Arledge with Arledge Commercial Funding. Can you discuss the role of external capital in managing cash flow for small businesses and how that can determine the right time and type of funding?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I'm going to tie it right back into what Nikki said, and that is that it's really important that a small business have access to capital. You do not want to deplete its personal funds. You want the leverage to work for you and with you. There's always going to be unforeseen circumstances that you may not be aware of that are going to impact the business, and you need to have that access to that capital ready. So think about January. Big snowstorm. How many people lost revenue that they had not planned for because we were closed for weeks? I mean, weeks here. Crazy. And that's very impactful. Or think about on the other side, you've been very successful in your plan and you're thinking about growing, and all of a sudden an opportunity is in front of you, but it's a short window for you to take advantage of. Maybe moving into a new space, but maybe there's competition and getting in there. But you haven't done your research. You have no idea how to get the capital that you need to get into that space, and you may lose it. So think about those things. So here's kind of the couple-step approach I would recommend you take with this. First of all, before you even seek out the type of financing, do some self-assessment. Look at what your current cash flow is. Figure out where some of the choppy areas are, where some of the gaps are. But beyond that, I highly recommend that you look out and do a cash flow projection. With certain loans that I offer, I require the client to give me two years of cash projections month over month. And while that sounds daunting, I think it's a wonderful exercise. It makes you sit down and really think strategically and logically about what is my cash flow, where I think it's going. I'm not putting emotion into it right now because I'm just doing sort of fact-finding and planning. And so once I have those numbers and I see what my potential needs may be, then I would recommend you go to somebody like Nikki, you go to somebody like myself, and talk to us about what kind of financing solutions are out there. It could be a straight commercial bank loan. It could be something called SBA, which is a small business administration loan, which is a loan that is designed specifically for small business owners. And there's a lot of flexibilities within the programs. It could be that line of credit. It could be a term loan. Whatever it is that you determine might be right, what you have analyzed and determined it needs to be. But then I would say look under the hood. So now I figured out my financing type. Let me understand what it is, because capital costs money. It costs money to borrow. It's like on your mortgage. You're going to pay an interest rate. So understand the terms. What is the term they're offering me? What's the interest rate? Does it balloon at the end, which means do I owe a big lump sum of money? Am I prepared for that? Is there a prepayment penalty? Or on the reverse side, are there incentives if I pay my loan off early? So understanding all of those things will help you when the opportunity hits, and you can say, okay, I'm ready, and this is the path I'm going to go down. And I would say to give 2 quick pieces of advice. One is, please don't wait to do that work until you actually need cash, because now you're in an emotional state versus being a very logical and thoughtful and planning state. More than likely, in an emotional state, you're not going to make the right decision. You're not going to pick the right type of financing. You're just going to panic grab whatever you can get to address your situation. And then my biggest piece of advice is repeating what most people have said on this panel, which is use your business advisory team. And if you do not have one, I highly recommend that you build one around you. You know, that is your business banker, your CPA, your financial advisor, a business bookkeeper. And all of these people will give you that free advice, and they are very experienced. They've worked with business owners day in and day out. They've seen the scenarios you're facing, and they're a wealth of knowledge and information. So that would be my biggest advice.
Joey. So this next question is for Mike Childress with Ashford Jones. He is the financial advisor in your long-term thinking. How can a business owner balance the need for immediate cash flow with the goal of long-term financial growth through investing?
Well, you're going to hear something that I think we've all said over and over and over. If you leave this seminar and you don't have this in your head, maybe time to look at putting to work for somebody. But you have to have a plan. You have to have a plan, and you have to have a team of professionals. But it starts with analyzing your cash flow and your expenses and coming up with a budget. So we know where we are month to month. If you have varying levels of income, then sitting down with a financial coach or a financial advisor to look over and kind of come up with, do we use the median income, do we use the average, do we go to the low end when we start developing that budget? And then from the budget, we're going to create an investment plan. What can you afford without adversely affecting your cash flow to the point that it really impedes your ability to run your business? So once we develop that, then we're going to decide what is the priority of investments. So we want to look at one, do we have our retirement savings, our qualified accounts that the IRS gives us to have tax write-offs and grow our money tax deferred? 2, do we have an emergency fund set up? Actually, emergency fund comes first, then the retirement account. Then do we have a type form of insurance to protect our family and our income if something was to happen to us? And then going all the way down the list, college, saving for a house, yada, yada, yada. After we develop that plan, then what kind of vehicle are we going to use to start investing? Talking about your business. Are we going to use a SEP IRA? Are we going to use a simple IRA? Are we going to use a solo 401k? Are we going to use a traditional 401k? Do we just go with a traditional Roth? All of those will depend on what your cash flow looks like and how much you can afford to put in an investment for yourself and, if you can, for others. And so then we need to look at that to determine we have the right product in place and then the right insurance in place. Kind of give you an idea. If you can start early enough, if you were to put $100 in an IRA for 30 years, every month for 30 years, that $100 would total your contribution $36,000. You would end up with $124,000 over 30 years. If you waited to 10 years till retirement and you only had 10 years, you would have to put $700 a month, get to $123,500, and that would be $84,000 that you have to put in. So talking about cash flow, if we can start early enough, 1, we can put a smaller amount in to meet our future financial goals. 2, we talk with our tax professional we'll work with the CPA that will let us know, one, this amount of money is going to be tax deferred and you'll try to tax write-off. So now we're going to write this off of our taxes. And two, then we'll talk about what is the benefit of having that retirement plan for employees and not having to keep retraining employees because we put a vesting schedule in to keep them with us for 3 to 4 years and keep them in the company. So that's how we would work it. Get you started early. Let's develop a financial plan. Start early, that way we might have to put quite as much in and play catch up and let compounding interest work its way to your retirement.
Right, and so for the credit card processor, for Mrs. Shields, your smart processing, in what ways can modern payment processing solutions impact the cash flow of entrepreneurs, and what should a business owner consider when choosing a processor?
Well, there's two parts to that. So in what ways can modern payment processing solutions impact cash flow? The obvious answer to that is that taking credit cards provides additional cash flow, and that not everybody, really anybody carries cash. It increases the profit in the business. But more importantly, you really have to take a look at how much taking credit cards is costing you. We all know we have to take them, but you need to really look at the processing fees. So there in the second part of that question, like how do you pick a processor? You have to really take a look at what you're signing up for when you're getting a company involved to take the process. You want to make sure, I said this earlier, but you really want to make sure that you own your credit card process. You do not want to sign up for a situation if you can help it where by using their product, the payment processing part of it is proprietary. Because putting them in a position of owning your credit card processing enables them to charge you anything they want. And you really, truly have to take time, no matter how busy you get, to look at how much you're paying for your credit card processing. When those statements come in the mail, don't just toss them in the drawer, actually open up and look at them. Or if you're getting them online, open them, analyze them. Or like with us, just give us a call. Or I would love to sit down with any one of you and do it. We do a completely free analysis of your statement. You need to figure out exactly, are there any different fees in my statement? How much are they charging me each month to take credit cards? How much are each different kind of credit cards costing me? But regardless of all those things on the statement, the bottom line at the end of the day is how much we paying you. What percentage is going out of credit card processing? And companies out there, a lot of times they say, well, we're only going to charge you 1% to take credit cards. Well, they're leaving out a big part of that portion, not how much per month. They're not taking into account interchange and text messages, how much banks are charging. There's so many more things involved. So make sure you have a say in how much you're paying and actually know how much you're paying. I would love to, there's so many things involved in that, one-on-one conversation, but it is a big portion. People are always surprised. It's a commonality in every conversation I ever have. When you sit down and actually analyze their expenses, you're always surprised and distracted. It seems like it's falling out, ends up being a large factor of months. You're paying. That's probably my number one thing to take away from everything else. Is make sure you're doing your process.
So, thank you. So this question is for the profit coach, and this is Joey Ruffalo, J Financial Coaching. Okay. What are the key operational or strategic changes you recommend for improving cash flow in a small business based on your experience?
So a couple of good. First, we talked about last day is leveraging technology, constantly doing it. That's first and foremost. I think there's also an opportunity for small businesses to integrate or introduce new product lines, either as internally or like the collaborative products. So collaborative product lines might be, let's say, for example, you're a headset and you go online. You don't do grooming, you don't do veterinary care, and you don't do photography or treat your food. there's an opportunity for you to either introduce a new product line where, hey, on your consider, I also have toys available for you, or I also do masks for your dog. That's there for you to expand. But you're gonna have the capacity or the time to do that. You may also have to learn how to do certain aspects. So if you want to be a trainer, you're gonna have to take some schooling and time with that. And you may not have an opportunity available to you timeline. So you may hook up with a trainer and have a collaborative product line where, hey, do body package, come to us for socialization and go to John Doe for training. So that's kind of package, and now we'll work together. And we expand our offerings. We've also expanded our reach. And we expand our reputation as well because people like the trainer and are like us because he likes us, vice versa. So there's that aspect as well. Typically, like in the landscape we're using that we had earlier, we make just cut grass, but I don't know how to do floral design. Your garden with pretty neat plants, it's so in line. But hooking up with them and having a follow package together, that's a great opportunity for you to get their clients and then get your clients to work together. What I said earlier was that most people don't have their own business. And I left that because it's, we talk about how it's kind of true in a sense, but it's not a knock at anybody. It's just, getting that team together is important. Because most people try to learn on the fly. There's an opportunity also to look at your messaging. Who are you messaging for? Are you messaging for yourself? Something we can do, or you're actually messaging to your clients, your potential clients. What I mean by that is effective messaging. You got to look at two aspects. It's going to look at the problem the client has that this is only solve, and the solution you provide to that client. If you can effectively get that across, you're gonna hit your ideal client all the time. Yeah. So when I ask a question to the audience, they're going to throw out payday because we haven't done it. Yes. So next question. Does anybody here know the 80-20 rules? Yeah, so,
80-20, we take a bunch of people that are business owners, out of 80% of business owners, 20% are only.
I don't break that. So in my world, it's 80% of. Teresa, you have a good one too.
I mean, just essentially, like she said, 80-20, you got 100% in it, but 20% or 90% of volume for, so that's not 80%.
Eventually, you go. Awesome. So I will 80% of your revenue comes 20% of what you do every day. So really streamlining your business operations to focus on that 20% of what you're doing for 80% of your revenue. Most business owners have opposite. They focus on the 80% of what they're not doing, only being 20% of that revenue. So it's the mindset as well. We can focus your mind on just focusing on 20%, which my space is about 7 different areas. Encompasses that 20%. That's going to generate about 80% of it. So I really think it's an opportunity to messaging your marketing and then leveraging the tools and technology you have to effectively that messaging marketing in place, figuring out your time in that first work on your business.
We Joey. Yeah. We have for the commercial banker, Nikki Brinkley, with First Citizens Bank. What are the most effective banking tools and services that entrepreneurs can use to enhance their cash flow management and marketing?
So the first one I'm always going to hit on is credit card processing. I think I just always say, you don't ever want someone to come to you and say, I need to pay you this way, and you say, I don't accept payment that way. You need to always be able to take payment however people want to pay you. And obviously, most people want to pay by credit card, although I have ran into some businesses that still don't want to offer credit card, but I always say do it because they don't like the expense of it, but they're again, if someone only can pay with a credit card, you don't want to be able to, you don't want to turn it away or whatever. But also, like she was saying earlier, that it really helps with cash flow because the majority of the time they're putting that money right back in your account the very next day. So it's just such a faster way to collect so that you can keep that cash flow cycle going for your business. ACH, so everybody here, has insurance and they automatically take your insurance payment out of your account every month. That's ACH, also known as automated clearing house. In the same sense, as a business owner, you can do that too. So maybe you have clients that pay you monthly, weekly, quarterly, whatever. You can set them up to where you can automatically pull that money from your customer. So it gives you the control as a business owner so that they're not constantly saying, well, text in the mail, whatever. It's coming out automatically on that day. Of course, you're going to have an agreement or something that you've written up that says that you're allowed to pull that money from them. But the bank can help you to facilitate that so that you are in control of that transaction. Using a credit card. So another tool that helps with your cash flow management. So when you think about it, a service industry, maybe you're a service industry that you have terms. And so you take 25% up front, and then when you're finished with the job, the customer has to pay you in 30 days. That's a term, okay? So the same thing, when you are the business owner and you're out swiping the card, instead of swiping that debit card, swipe a credit card, and now you've created a 30-day term for yourself. So now, instead of that cash coming out of your account immediately, you have 30 days to pay that back. I always recommend that you fully pay your credit cards off in full every month so you're not incurring interest. But this is a way that you can help the cash flow of your business so that you're not depending on cash. You can use that card. Also, it is better for fraud to use a credit card versus a debit card, protect yourself a little bit more against fraud. Line of credit, hit on this several times. Really important though that you understand how to use a line of credit. A line of credit is meant to be used for short-term working capital. What that means is you are going to use that money because right now payments are coming in slow. You have to make payroll. So this week you're going to use that line of credit to pay payroll, but next week the payments are coming in. You're going to pay that line of credit back off. I think a lot of people get a line of credit thinking that they're going to go buy equipment, they're going to go remodel, they're going to go build out in a new space. No, we want to make sure that we're putting you in the right lending product for what you're going to use it for. Line of credit is meant for that short-term interim need of keeping that cash flow moving through your business. Remote deposit scanner. So this is another option. So if you're a business that you do accept checks, bank can put the scanner in your office where you never have to leave the bank. You scan it just as if you walked into the bank. I know with us, you can make that deposit at 10 o'clock at night. You never had to leave your office. Or if you're a service industry like pest control, a plumber, HVAC, whatever, if you're out all day long, you don't have time to go to the bank. When you get home to your home office, you can make those deposits right there. So that's going to help with cash flow instead of holding checks in your pocket for days. We have another option as well. I don't know if this is all banks, but we have an option called electronic bill presentment and payment. This is for, this is basically separate than your main business website, but we create a website for you to where your customers have a landing page to go to look at their statements, to look at their invoices. They can make payments. They can set up payment plans. And you control all the options as a business owner when we do this with you. You control it. Do you want them to have the ability to make a payment plan, or do they need to call the office? If they're going to pay past due, can they do that on there, or do they have to call in for that? So you make all those little choices, but there again, it goes back to the fact that you don't have to be open for them to go in and make a payment. So, and then obviously with credit card processing, having access to make payments on your website too is really critical. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what I would recommend.
Yeah, and as the automation expert in the CRM funnel godmother in the room, I echo everything that everyone has said. And when you have the proper systems in place running your business, such as the CRM, she mentioned landing pages where people can come in off your marketing and buy things from you, credit card processing, those instant receipts that are going to go out, the instant touches when you meet someone that you're helping them and bring home that business card, and you put it in the CRM, you need to have a system that's going to set up 7 to 10 touches. Touches being a phone call or an email or a text message, or asking them to connect with you on LinkedIn, those kind of things, within the first 4 or 5 days, that's going to help them remember you. And all of those things can be set up on the schedule. They'll either happen for you or they'll automatically remind you. You get up in the morning, you open up your, I recommend my customers, you open your email, your calendar, and your CRM. And that's how you keep your computer all day with those things open. And that CRM is going to have a to-do list for you. Call this person, say the name of that person. Check with this person on LinkedIn. So those are just going to be there for you. And the best thing that a CRM does when used correctly is it brings you new leads in your database, new appointments on your calendar, and new money in your bank account. And who doesn't want that, right? Well, thank you so much. Let's give our panel a huge round of applause today. And we're going to continue to take some more questions from our audience here. And I'm just going to end the live stream. And thank you all for being here too.